So we've heard hackers stealing your identity and your digital wallet. How about your memories?
Well, Manny, as I'm getting older, my memory is not as good as it used to be. And I've heard that you have an interesting story about some brain stimulation.
Yeah, so this is basically some new research from Kaspersky and the University of Oxford Functional Neurosurgery Group. And they are talking about, in the future, there being the possibility to attack memories. And what they're saying here is basically that they've got these brain stimulation devices that exist today. They're called neurostimulators and implantable pulse generators. They are used today for the treatment of things like Parkinson's, OCD, depression. So the research goes into these risk scenarios that they developed as they started to look at this new technology. And so they had four risk scenarios. The first one is exposed connected infrastructure. So what they were talking about here is obviously these devices, they have some sort of online presence, to be able to transmit the data that they're getting from these devices. They're able to transmit them back to, so they have some sort of like online portals. So that immediately, as we all know, that's going to work just like any other portal that's available out on the internet. Mm-hmm. It's something that's hackable. The next one is insecure or unencrypted data transfer. So they're talking about these devices are potentially using things like Bluetooth to talk from the device to the management thing, which may be, like an iPad or some sort of device that they're using to communicate with this. Mm-hmm. So, Bluetooth, we know that there's some vulnerabilities against that technology that may be taken advantage of. Design constraints. So they're talking about, so you have to build these things and you have to build ways to access them. They may use passwords. So let's say Matt has one of these things implanted in his head and there's emergency, but he's down in Florida at Disney World. Mm-hmm. And he's now needs to go to a doctor down there.
Who doesn't have the keys to my brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who may not have the password. So they're thinking, well, are they going to build potentially backdoors into these things so that if you're in an emergency, they know some way that they can get into this device to get the attention that you may need at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're talking about also insecure behavior by medical staff. So they're talking about like, hey, I've got the tablet that has the software that runs the device that's in Matt's head, but I'm going to use this device to go get my Yahoo mail or or pull my my Gmail.
Or I'm going to leave the interface with a default password because I'm too lazy to change it.
Exactly. So obviously they're thinking through all of these different risk scenarios, which we all know that obviously they do exist. We've talked about this sort of in the past, but sort of never with this type of device, something that gets implanted in your brain. So in 5 years, they're actually saying that these devices are going to be able to record brain signals, and that these brain signals that actually build memories, and then using these devices to either enhance them or rewrite them, which is just, again, mind-blowing that that you've got some sort of technology that's going to allow you to do that. And then they even go so far as to say that in 20 years' time that you're going to actually be able to control them. And so it kind of goes on and on to talk about that stuff, but very interesting stuff that they were they're discussing about the possibilities here.
Well, like I remember growing up and like watching Ghost in the Shell, reading Neuromancer, and being like, how cool would it be to have a computer in your head? And now I'm like, absolutely not.
Right.
Not unless I absolutely need one.
Kind of want one, right? I think, in some ways, but it was interesting. I was at DEF CON this year, and there was a whole room, actually a whole big area assigned to biometric and biomedical hacking, which was fascinating. I didn't get to spend a lot of time in there, but I thought that was really, this is the type of thing that they're looking at.
Yeah.
Well, you said that we have 5 years to fix this before those things go on the market?
Yeah.
All right.
Who knows? Maybe less.
Maybe less. The more critical things we hook things up to, like you can hook IoT devices up to a reactor or a generator, and now we're hooking it directly up to the human mind. That's the scary part. Not that things are vulnerable, that you've just added something to the human brain that makes it as vulnerable as these devices.